They say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but sometimes what doesn't kill you just leaves you reeling, questioning every life decision you've ever made. Is resilience truly about growing stronger, or is it simply about enduring the pain? Let's dive into that question today. Imagine that gut-wrenching moment when everything you thought was certain in your life suddenly shatters. It's the kind of realization that forces you to second-guess everything. Your past choices, your relationships, even the seemingly trivial preferences like your favorite movies. Take, for example, a woman who has just had her world turned upside down. After 27 years of marriage, she discovered that her husband had been having an affair for the past 8 years. Though it wasn't continuous betrayal, he claims it was on and off due to overwhelming guilt. The revelation still felt like a devastating blow. The woman had met his affair partner multiple times, and in hindsight, she acknowledges that some part of her always knew. Yet, the official confirmation of his infidelity still felt like a shock, a betrayal so deep that it left her questioning her entire past. Her husband is remorseful, crying, apologizing, saying all the right things about how she didn't deserve this. But his guilt doesn't erase the fact that he has strong feelings for the other woman. Despite his sorrow, he is certain that their marriage cannot survive this. Their children, 2 college-age daughters, remain unaware of the situation for now. She doesn't have the heart to break such painful news over a video call, so they have agreed to wait until everyone is home for Christmas. Until then, they are trapped in a strained and depressing facade of normalcy. For now, the husband sleeps downstairs, which means their youngest, still in high school, hasn't noticed any drastic changes. But for this woman, it's the most painful experience of her life. She is angry, furious that he let this go on for so long, that he could deceive her for nearly a decade. He insists he is no longer seeing the affair partner, at least while they are still legally married. She demanded that if he had any respect left for her, he would cut ties before their divorce is finalized. Yet deep down, she knows that as soon as the legal process is complete, he will likely go back to his affair partner, even though he currently denies having future plans with her. Looking back, she realizes that her husband stayed in their marriage for the sake of their children. He wanted them to grow up in a stable family environment. But now, she is grappling with a whirlwind of emotions: anger, resentment, heartbreak, and, surprisingly, love. She hates his affair partner and finds herself obsessively searching for her on social media, though she knows it isn't healthy. She is desperately trying to maintain her composure, waiting for a therapy appointment to figure out how to tell their children. Despite everything, she and her husband remain friends. After 30 years together, she still loves him. She doesn't know who else to turn to for the everyday things. Who does she text random thoughts to now? She adores his family and doesn't know how she will cope without the deep history they share. Meanwhile, he is a wreck, unable to eat, constantly moping. She herself has already lost 9 pounds. She is consulting a lawyer to ensure her rights are protected. Although they plan to proceed amicably, she knows she needs someone in her corner to make sure the settlement is fair. Her husband is willing to give her whatever she wants. He admits his wrongdoing and understands that he must make amends financially. However, she feels lost. She stayed home to raise their children, only working part-time. She has a degree, but never built a career. Though her husband assures her she won't have to worry about money, she is terrified. She knows nothing about investments, 401(k)s, or financial independence. The thought of starting over is overwhelming. She isn't interested in finding love again. Right now, she can't even imagine trusting another man. The loneliness is unbearable, and the idea of him moving on with someone who has been waiting for him on the other side is a bitter pill to swallow. She doesn't want her daughters to hate him. She refuses to speak poorly about him to them, but she also refuses to make it easy for him to integrate his affair partner into their lives. His mistress is the same age as her, already divorced with 2 children. She loathes this woman and feels an uncontrollable surge of jealousy and bitterness. Despite everything, she knows they need to maintain a civil relationship for the sake of their children. She has drawn boundaries. She no longer does anything for him. She used to take care of him, but now she largely ignores his presence. He accepts this without complaint, knowing he has no right to ask for anything more. She is filled with conflicting emotions, resentment, grief, and the occasional flicker of hope. She wants him to suffer, but she also doesn't want him to be happy without her. She wonders if things will ever get better. She has tried to focus on self-care, to rediscover who she is without him, but she is terrified of being alone for the rest of her life. She can't fathom the idea of trusting someone new, of building a relationship from scratch. The online community advises her to take legal action swiftly. They suggest she get her husband to sign a settlement agreement while he is still in a fog of guilt. Some recommend that she take everything she can while he is still remorseful. Others caution her to ensure he tells the truth to his family and friends, so he cannot shift the blame onto her. Many urge her to establish financial independence, open her own bank account, and secure her rightful share of their assets before he changes his mind. In response, she provides more context. Her husband owns his own company, which means there is no HR department to report his affair to. The affair began years ago when he was miserable at his old job. His mistress was a co-worker, and they bonded over their mutual frustration. Eventually, he left and started his own business, hiring her as his first employee. She supported him through his unhappiness, never realizing he was confiding in another woman instead of her. She acknowledges that her daughters will make their own choices about their relationship with their father. She has always prioritized their emotional well-being, ensuring they had therapists from a young age. She refuses to let her bitterness taint their view of him, though she knows they will form their own opinions in time. Taking control of her future, she signs up for a financial seminar for newly divorced women. The responses from others have solidified her decision to seek legal counsel immediately. While she still has some trust in her husband, his parents would likely disinherit him if he mistreated her. She understands that legal protection is necessary. She intends to keep the house and pursue lifelong alimony, despite it being uncommon in her state. Interestingly, she discovers that her husband's affair partner has been divorced twice. One husband was an addict, and the other came out as gay. She wonders if her husband is truly her jackpot, or just another stepping stone in her pattern of failed relationships. She warns him not to be foolish enough to marry her, lest he end up paying alimony twice over. Her husband's only justification for his affair is that people grow apart. She sees now that this is a lie he told himself to justify years of deception. When confronted about whether they could try counseling, he seemed bewildered that she would even consider it. He has spent years falling out of love with her, and she is just now catching up to that reality. Despite everything, she refuses to be naive anymore. She won't let hatred consume her, but she will be firm in fighting for what she deserves. She and her new best friend, her lawyer, will ensure that she emerges from this not just as a survivor, but as someone who reclaims her strength and her future. You are in control, and you refuse to tolerate any nonsense. That is precisely the kind of energy you need to maintain moving forward. No more sacrificing your needs for him. No more pretending that everything is fine. He is the one who must face the full weight of his actions and the consequences that come with them. For those who have been checking in on me over the past few months, I truly appreciate your support. To summarize, I confronted my husband in October 2024, and he admitted to an on and off affair spanning 8 years with a co-worker, someone he eventually hired for his company. It was a devastating revelation, but I took control of the situation and started focusing on myself. I found immense support in Chump Lady, whose insights have been incredibly helpful. Additionally, I've been listening to Mel Robbins and have been inspired by her teachings, as well as by a manifesting book that has brought a fresh sense of excitement and possibility into my life. Now, I know some people might be surprised by this, but he is still living downstairs in our house. The house is large enough that I can easily avoid him, which makes this arrangement tolerable for the time being. The primary reason for this setup is that the accountants are still working through some tax issues related to his business, and I want to ensure that everything is properly resolved before he leaves for good. There are things I need from him, and I am determined to get them. I am directly involved in this accounting process to keep things moving forward, ensuring that I am not left in the dark. Over the past few months, my emotions have transformed. Initially, I was furious, completely feral, even. But now I feel detached. It benefits me to remain composed and cordial, as I have negotiated a deal that works in my favor. Part of me feels like I am compromising, But if it means securing my future, so be it. The agreement states that I will remain on the family insurance indefinitely through his company and will receive a percentage of his business earnings every year, with no expiration date. This is in addition to receiving half of everything he owns, including his 401k, stocks, and our nearly paid-off home. He continues to grapple with overwhelming guilt, fully aware that he has destroyed the family that once loved and supported him. No matter how much he regrets it, he cannot undo the damage. I am not naturally manipulative, but I have observed that the calmer I am, the more his guilt consumes him. My priority is making sure I get what I rightfully deserve. My lawyer has drafted a contract, and we are only waiting for the final valuation of his company to determine the alimony amount. We have chosen to proceed with a single lawyer for this process. During the holiday break, when all of our daughters, ages 18, 19, and 25, were home, we broke the news to them. It was painful, and though they are doing better with time, their relationship with their father has suffered irreparably. He is now making more of an effort to connect with them, but I have made it clear that I will not serve as a bridge between them. If he loses them, that is entirely on him. This experience has taught me so much about myself. Through therapy, I have revisited my childhood and come to understand why I ignored so many red flags. Growing up with a narcissistic, alcoholic father, whom I still love deeply, conditioned me to always defer to the men in my life. I was never taught to recognize my own needs, but rather to prioritize pleasing others. Now, I understand the patterns that shape me, and with this knowledge comes power. For the first time in my life, I am making decisions based on what I want, and it is the most liberating feeling. Despite my soon-to-be ex still residing downstairs, I hardly see him, and I live my life without considering him at all. However, the downside of occasional interactions is that I have not fully disconnected yet. I recognize that I will likely experience a wave of emotions when we finalize the divorce papers, but I genuinely believe I have reached a turning point. I no longer feel bound to him. I simply do not care anymore. My daughters remain my greatest priority, and I am always there for them. They are my world. Additionally, I have been helping my mother care for my father, who is suffering from alcoholic dementia. For the first time in many years, long before I even confirmed the affair, I feel cautiously optimistic. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I have plans for my future. Once the accountants finalize everything, I will provide an update. For anyone going through a divorce after a long marriage, know that you will get through this. You have spent years taking care of your family and spouse. Now it is time to take care of yourself. Recognizing the ways in which my past conditioned me to defer to others has been a powerful realization. This level of self-awareness is crucial to breaking harmful cycles and truly healing. I have come a long way in learning to own my worth and build a life that belongs entirely to me. I hope the financial proceedings wrap up soon so I can move forward with the final steps and fully embrace my new beginning. To anyone who has experienced a major life shift, what was the best thing you did for yourself during the transition? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned, because next up, we have a story about a drunken confession and some questionable friendships, a combination that often leads to overthinking and uncertainty. A 27-year-old man recently shared an experience involving his 28-year-old girlfriend. After a girls' night out, he picked her up from the bar and carried her up the stairs, at which point she drunkenly declared, "I would never cheat on you. You're too good for that," before giving him a kiss. At the time, he didn't think much of it, but in the following days, the comment lingered in his mind. Given that he had been cheated on in the past, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He pondered possible explanations. Perhaps she had been pressured to cheat, or maybe one of her friends had been unfaithful that night. He wasn't sure how to interpret her words and sought advice before making a big deal out of it. Many people reassured him that her statement was likely nothing to worry about. Some suggested that drunken thoughts often stem from conversations earlier in the night, meaning they may have discussed cheating, which triggered her comment. Others pointed out that intoxicated people sometimes blurt out seemingly random reassurances as a way of expressing their feelings. 3 days later, he provided an update. After discussing the situation with his girlfriend, he learned that she had no memory of making the comment. However, when asked why she might have said it, she admitted that when her friends Jane had made out with another guy, despite having a boyfriend, John. Jane's behavior had likely influenced the conversation, and the men Jane's group had interacted with had unsuccessfully tried to hit on the other women. While his girlfriend hadn't cheated, he was bothered by the fact that she hadn't mentioned Jane's actions earlier. She acknowledged that it was a poor choice and agreed to be more transparent moving forward. She also decided to cut back on drinking when he isn't present, both for his peace of mind and for her own well-being. As for Jane and John, things took a turn. Jane had been reaching out to John incessantly, but he had gone radio silent. When our storyteller reached out to John for a beer and to compare details, he confirmed that they had officially broken up. Jane had admitted to her mistake, but the damage was done. The group chat revealed that John had distanced himself from Jane and their mutual friends entirely. In the end, our storyteller was relieved that his girlfriend was honest and did not defend Jane's actions. The situation served as a reminder to be more mindful behavior, especially under the influence of alcohol. Have you ever overanalyzed something your partner said, only to realize later that it wasn't as significant as you initially thought? How did you handle it? Share your experiences in the comments below. Thanks for joining us today on Beyond the Surface. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you soon.